Champions League quarter-final first leg, and what a match it was between Chelsea and Real Madrid. Real Madrid would quickly take a 2-0 lead after a couple of fantastic finishes from Karim Benzema. Kai Havertz would score just before the break, and then 60 seconds into the second half, a mix-up at the back between Mendy and Rudiger would see Karim Benzema score into an empty net, and that would be it. Real Madrid taking a 3-1 lead into that second leg in Spain next week. Start with you, Craig. What a great game this was.
Well, compared to yesterday, I suppose. But Real Madrid were exceptional. Obviously, Benzema was exceptional. That the goals that he took, he could have had four really when he missed that easy chance, probably the easiest chance he had in the first half. But I just thought the way they controlled the game once they got over the edgy start. Casemiro, I thought, was brilliant. Modric, unbelievable 36-year-old. And I thought Valverde, in that decision to play him, was excellent. He worked that whole right-hand side. And on the other side, Vinicius Junior took more chances, cheated a little bit, really put pressure on Christensen. And I think that's why Thomas Tuchel had to make a change at half-time in terms of the shape, because Real Madrid were controlling the game. So, yeah, a first-class performance.
What's interesting, obviously, we've seen a lot of Real Madrid this season, Ali, in the sense that they were terrible against Barcelona, not much better against Celta Vigo, but when it comes to the Champions League, they just seem to find that next level. That first half was the best we've seen from Real Madrid, arguably all season.
And the way that they were able to absorb pressure while Chelsea was getting numbers or trying to get numbers around the ball, and the calmness and confidence to be able to play through that pressure. And once they play through that pressure, they're transitioning forward. And when they're able to do that with time and space, they're just about better than anybody else in the world in that transition, because they find that first pass out of pressure, connect that first pass, and now you get Benzema involved. Now you get Vinicius involved, and Christensen still trying to chase Vinicius Jr. He can't quite figure out, do I get tied to him? Do I wait for him? He was able, Vinicius Jr., to then get in the head of Christensen, and because of that, he got tied to him, and by the time he got tied to him, Benzema was the one laying the ball off. And while we want to focus on the goals by Karim Benzema, and rightfully so, there were a few plays in the first half that had nothing to do with goals, in which he freed up other players that tell you everything that you need to know about Karim Benzema as a player. The little back heel that he does in the first action in the attack from Real Madrid that ends up being the post from Vinicius Jr., it tells you the vision, the movement, how smart and how intelligent he is, and how he knows what's around him. And being able to isolate Benzema, being able to isolate Vinicius Jr., Real Madrid had to control the pace of the game. And even though they didn't have the ball, when they did have it, unlike Atletico Madrid yesterday, they showed an ability and they showed ambition in saying, okay, this is our moment. We know this is our moment. We recognize it. Now let's go on the attack. Let's go in transition. Let's punish Chelsea. And they did that very well.
How good were those finishes, Jan, from Benzema?
It's unbelievable. I nearly start crying when I saw that second goal. But this heading that he's doing, for me, that is Leonardo da Vinci meeting Michelangelo somewhere and find out, what do we do with a cross when the ball is coming like this? How do we do that? How do you use your head? He's using his heading better than most players in the Champions League can shoot. Benzema, what he did today, and I agree with Al, there were so many small things that he did this game. He's so intelligent, and it's not like we haven't seen that. There are some people who say he hasn't been good. He's always been a great player. He's won everything, and you just, what was that? But someone applauding for me there. But it's like unbelievable. You just feel that this team, they played together since Puskas and Di Stefano played together. You just feel that. And when you see Benzema with this enjoyment he's doing that, we just do it a hat-trick for the second Champions League in a row. Nobody has done that. It's three other players who have done that all in the whole history of Champions League. And he just do it naturally. Fantastic. We all of us, we see a lot of football games, and I kind of love these kind of moments, because then it's all sitting through so many bad football games and so many bad finishing, and then Benzema does this. Fantastic.
We talked about this before, Craig, how obviously when Cristiano Ronaldo left, we thought maybe it would be Bale who would step up and kind of take his place, but Benzema has come in and done that, and it just exceeded all expectation.
Who thought Bale would take his place?
Well, that was the theory, wasn't it? That was what the talk was.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but he's just got better and better. And I suppose as everybody talks about Lewandowski, and rightly so, you know, the amount of goals he scored, just his general play. When Real Madrid haven't been, yeah, they're having some success and they're top of the league, and it's been a little bit of a struggle at times. And if you watch La Liga, it's not always been convincing, but they've been getting results. He really has carried the team. Now, he had a little spell out injured, and they tried everything and sundry to replace him. They tried a false nine, they tried Isco, they tried Jovic, they tried Belfoot, they tried everything. Just irreplaceable at this team at the moment. And as the guys have alluded to, it's the work rate, it's the positioning that he takes up. I can't remember the goals again. Was the first one the header from about 16 yards? Because that was...
Yeah.
That was just... I mean, the whole build-up play, coming short, putting it in behind, then busting a gut to get in there and then the finish. And then the second one, I think the one Jan was talking about, I don't know, I can't remember, when he was leaning back and just sort of guiding it in the first. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And of course, he should have had that other one in the first half. That's a little blemish on his card. But no, I mean, should we be surprised? We talked about it yesterday briefly. Chelsea were the bookies' favourites. I struggle to see why that was. Yeah, Real Madrid haven't been playing brilliantly, but they've got 7 victories in the last 8 games. That one defeat was the bludgeoning by Barcelona, I'll give you that. But then you look at Chelsea, 4 goals they lost to Brentford at home, and people say, well, yeah, but they've been defending great lately. Look at who they've played. Lille in the Champions League twice, Middlesbrough, they've played Burnley, they've played Newcastle, they've played Norwich, all teams that are really struggling. Crystal Palace, who are not bad but been in the bottom half. So they've been playing teams, Dan, Chelsea, that have been either fighting relegation or in the bottom half of the league. That's not really a good gauge in terms of where they are. Let's not forget, Chelsea have been out of the title race in England since around Christmas time. There are problems there, notwithstanding the sanctions and all that. But that's not an excuse, because Chelsea's season was derailing, certainly domestically, before that. And this is a real eye-opener for Thomas Tuchel about what they need and just where they are. Even though they're the holders of this competition, just where they are at the moment with the other big sides when they turn it on.
Frank, what's disappointing from a Chelsea perspective, obviously, is that Kai Havertz goal just before the break kind of gave them a lifeline where they didn't really deserve one, considering how good Real Madrid in the first half. So you thought you're looking to keep that momentum going. And then Mendy to Rudiger, and then Benzema, of course, pouncing on it. When you see this goal time and time again, you look at Rudiger, surely as a centre-back, and think, what are you doing?
Well, you can wonder the same for Edouard Mendy. You know, lately, so many bad passes who created dangers for his own team. And it's true, Rudiger has to... I think it would have been Carvajal or Nacho or maybe Milito. He would have kicked the ball in the stand to clear and to secure to secure the chance for Real Madrid. The thing is, when you started the show with, I don't know what a great game it was. Well, it was a great game for Real Madrid. It was an awful game from Chelsea, really. And I still don't know if Chelsea was so bad because Real Madrid was so good, or Real Madrid was so good because Chelsea was so bad. We saw everything. The lineup was wrong. I think Azpilicueta playing on the left side to cope with Valverde, that was a very bad decision from Tuchel. Bad performance overall. The commitment weren't there for quarterfinal of the Champions League, and the clumsiness when you have Lukaku, you know, with his lack of confidence, missing his header at 3-1. I mean, that's awful. Everything was wrong. Everything was wrong from Chelsea. Even if they had chances the last 20 minutes, you cannot think that this team deserved to go through with that kind of performance. So there is a second tie. We want to, of course, if you support Chelsea, you want to see something much better. But in every compartment, every line from the goalkeeper to the strikers, except maybe Havertz, who did what he had to do, everybody has to show us much more if they want to create maybe a miracle.
What was Rudiger doing for that third goal, Craig?
What happened?
But I think
I think we lost Craig there. Jan?
I think Dan, what was quite interesting, was Rudiger got a yellow card quite early. And we were doing this game when we were watching it, and I was saying that if Rudiger against Real Madrid get a yellow so early, he seemed a bit confused the rest of the game. And that thing that he did there, as Frank's saying, you just get a ball away. It looks like it wasn't the typical Rudiger going into that, being maybe afraid of getting the red card. But Benzema as well is just taking advantage of it straight away, and he had to win that duel against Rudiger. But of course, that was a bad defending. But it's interesting what Frank is saying, because Real Madrid just show how much culture's making. You know, okay, Chelsea were not playing at their best, but when you see that culture of winning, when the goings get tough, Real Madrid was always there, and that is hard to learn. That is hard to learn, to have the players like Kroos and Modric and Benzema done it so many times before. So it's very fascinating to look at.
As Craig mentioned before, Frank, you look at it and maybe this is a surprise on paper for you, but you look at the form that Chelsea had going into this tie, it maybe isn't such a surprise, despite the fact that what you said when this draw made, you would say that Chelsea would demolish Real Madrid.
Yeah, because what I saw from Real Madrid wasn't convincing from me. Even if, and Craig mentioned it, Chelsea conceded many goals against Brentford in fantastic games. But when you compare the two sides, you can have, a slight optimism toward that game and think that Chelsea can do the job. But tonight, there were such differences of class and level between the two teams, and I remind everybody, Chelsea was playing at home. That's a clear nightmare. So you can say it's an accident, but it was an accident like a few days ago against Brentford. So it's an accident against Real Madrid. Well, when you have too many accidents, it becomes an habit, and you have to make sure you get out of trouble very quickly, because that could be an awful end of the season if they carry on like that.
Can I just say, and I'll just go back to Frank there for a second. And when PSG lost to Real Madrid, Frank came on and said, well, it wasn't Real Madrid that won it was PSG that lost it. Now you ask Frank about the good performance of Real Madrid away from home. He just said it, away from home. And his response is, well, was Real Madrid really that good, or were Chelsea really that bad? Maybe a combination of both. But at some point, we have to address the fact that Real Madrid were excellent in the first half. And you alluded to it. They're passing under pressure. Whenever Chelsea, early part of the game, they were trying to get on top of Real Madrid, and they were able to withstand that pressure through passing the ball. Not through kicking, not through fouling, not through just kicking the ball anywhere. No. Through passing, through quality, through the names that Jan just mentioned, through Modric and Kroos and Casemiro. And then they found the transition. So while, yes, the pressure for Chelsea was not all that great, it wasn't together, and you can work on that if you're Chelsea and you're Tuchel, and you must work on that if indeed you're going to pressure a team like Real Madrid. Fine, I'll accept that. But you have to have a team that is willing to work through that pressure and pass through that pressure. And we saw that from Real Madrid in a way that we haven't seen with any sort of consistency throughout the course of the season in La Liga. Today, they were very good in the first half because of the quality of the players on the field. And you saw it through the midfield, and you saw it in the front line as well.
The good news is, Dan, I don't know what happened earlier. I don't think my internet cut out. I think I just surprised you. I don't know what top I'm wearing. But the good news is for Chelsea fans that their manager has chucked the towel in. He's chucked the towel in. He was asked in his press conferences for a chance to come back in the second leg, and he said no. So he's sat and he's still in the corner of the ring blubbering to himself. It's not exactly the message you want, and there'll be people out there that will say, well, this is tactics, this is psychology. I don't think it's completely dead and buried. I think it's unlikely. I don't think it's impossible, but I certainly don't think you should be sitting there as a manager in a press conference with a 2-goal deficit. Bearing in mind, there's no away goals rule anymore. So those 3 goals are not worth as much as they were. I don't think you should be sitting in a press conference saying, is there a chance in the second leg? no, that's just not a very good signal to be sending out after a poor performance and after being outplayed. They've thrown the towel in already in the domestic title race pretty much. And I don't really think you want to hear that from a manager. You want to hear something with a bit more fighting spirit, something that you're going to take to the Bernabeu, and start saying, well, if we get an early goal, you never know. You just never know. So I didn't like that from him in the press conference, and he wasn't misquoted. He basically said, we're out of this tie. And I don't think that's a very positive message to be sending out, to be quite frank.
Yeah, and you're a big Tuchel fan?
Absolutely, and then we have to look at it human. I haven't seen the press conference, but I have to believe he said that. I saw after the game, he said if we play like this, like in the first time, we'll get hammered at Santiago Bernabeu. I think that if you not an explanation for what he's been under pressure with the situation at Chelsea, and we've all been complimented to him, praised him, how he's handled that situation. This week it was also out with the divorce and everything, Craig. So I tried to see it on a human side, but if he said that, it's not good for his players. But I agree with Craig. You can go there. You have with Havertz, you have players with Mount and everybody that can score goals, but I think that they were seen through today. A bit like Ali saying, I think there was a class difference between the two teams. And someone mentioned that header from Lukaku, and when you saw the headers from Benzema, and you saw the heading from Lukaku, I mean, Benzema must cost £1 billion net a year when you see the different quality in the finishing.
Yeah, that was it.
Let's just go back to this. Let's go back to Thomas Tuchel briefly. Not suggesting he's a bad manager, not at all. He's got clearly a good CV, but the mask has slipped a little bit here, and it has in recent months. Now, let's take the sanctions and that out of the equation. Things were unravelling at Chelsea well before that. Jan, and I don't know if I misheard Jan there, but talking about the difference in class between the two teams. There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be.
No, it was today. That's what I said.
Sorry?
It was today. Now, I said, Craig, it was today. I'm not saying that there's a big difference between the squads.
Right.
They are the reigning champion of Europe, of the world. But today, there was a different class. I'm not saying that they only were bad. Today, Real Madrid played a very good game.
Yeah, but my point being is it shouldn't be. I mean, all this Champions of Europe, I keep going back to this. You know, yeah, he was successful last year. So was Roberto Di Matteo when he came in. Holy Christ, Avram Grant nearly won the Champions League as the Chelsea interim manager, whatever it was. Can you only imagine? There shouldn't be this gulf between Chelsea and Liverpool and City and Chelsea and Real Madrid. Not with what they're spending and what they have spent. Not with that squad. So a lot of this goes on Thomas Tuchel. Why couldn't you put a credible challenge to the top two in England? Why, at the moment, are you not facing off with a Real Madrid side, a top of La Liga? But boy, did they have their problems in the summer. And boy, have they been really average in a lot of La Liga games this year. Today, they were excellent. But why are Chelsea, with the billions spent and the big transfer budget in the summer, once again, so far off the pace? The manager does not come out unscathed in all this. Yeah, he has some money in the bank from that Champions League win, and that was a big surprise, particularly against City, who stuffed it up, it has to be said, with team selection. But over the course of 38 games, and over the course of this Champions League now, this is the first real proper team, I believe, if memory serves me right, that they have met, and they've been taken apart. So, for me, we can look at the players, of course, we can look at the problems, but we have to look at Thomas Tuchel and say, should you be getting more with this expensively assembled Chelsea squad? The answer is yes. And I might be a bit ill-timed if they come back and win in the Bernabeu. We'll see. Unlikely. But I don't think he comes out of this unscathed, even with all the problems that Chelsea are having at the moment, because this was long in the making before any sanctions were on the table.
Frank, do you agree with Craig? Tuchel's got to go?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I think, as he said, and I guess he didn't say that, as he said, there is a possibility for Chelsea to get through if there is a kind of a miracle and maybe Tuchel find the solution. But there are some question marks. I never thought that Chelsea would be was as good as Liverpool and Manchester City. That I agree with Craig. Out of 38 games of the season, they can't follow the rhythm of the two other teams. They are a very good team, better than some others. But he has to find a solution, and he couldn't. He didn't find a solution, and he's been the second year at front, for example. He has some issues with N'Golo Kante, who has been injured many times this season. And at the back, it was good last season. It's not anymore. And we saw that on the second goal between Christensen and Thiago Silva, the misunderstanding between the two, even if we have to emphasize the fact that Benzema is an incredible player and can find any spaces against anybody. But there are some issues that they have to resolve, and very quickly, as I said before, because it can be very disappointing end of the season. Let's go back to what Ali said before. I agree with you. I'm very surprised the way Real Madrid played today. I'm very happily surprised with the way they played today. But according to what I saw lately, I couldn't say that Real Madrid was a fantastic team after what I saw for a game and a half against Paris Saint-Germain, and I saw against Celta Vigo, what I saw against Barcelona. But today, they were excellent.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.